Hi ladies, it's Claire. This is the first one of the tutorials that I'm going to be putting on Facebook for you, and after the great feedback that I got from you when I asked what tips and tricks you wanted to see, a lot of the replies were relating to how to blend well. So that's what I'm going to do in this little tutorial just now. I'm actually working in Johanna's Magical Jungle book. You can see the design that I've picked. It's got a deer in the corner and various leaves, and it's got space for a background as well, which I thought was pretty good in terms of looking ahead to what else I can teach you. So this design I will try to teach you blending, as you can see with the purples, and then I'll show you which colours I've used to do the oranges and the yellows. And then also I'll try to show you how I create a wet look leaf. Following that, in future tutorials, what I'll try and do is, or what I'm planning to do with this piece, is to place a tree up this side of Johanna's design and add in an ocean background with sky and clouds up at this top corner. So this is why I've picked this piece, because I think it will incorporate quite a few techniques that you've asked me to cover. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with blending. And you can see I've got the purple pencils on the page, because what I'm going to do is, you can see I've already done one here. I'm going to replicate that for you on this leaf that's next to it. These are the colours that I've got out. I have lavender. I have greyed lavender. Then I have lavender. I have lilac, parma violet and violet. And you can see that I've arranged them in shading from light to dark. These are Prismacolour pencils. But you will find that, I guess, whatever packs you have, if not Prismacolour, you will find similar colours in those packs. So you don't necessarily need Prismacolours, these are just the ones that I've chosen to use. Okay, so I'm going to move these off the page. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the lightest colour, because as you can see from the outline, I've used the lightest shade of purple just as a kind of highlight around the edge. So when I'm pressing on the page, this is really simple. It's all one, fairly hard pressing on the page. There's no blending going to be required in this step. It literally just is, let's colour in the line. And because it's a lighter shade than the other purples, it will make the other purples stand out quite well. So we'll just quickly put that in first. And I apologise in advance if you hear barking in the background. My Dalmatian and my Labrador pup have been misbehaving this afternoon. Okay, so the greyed lavender I can now put to one side, because I won't be using that again. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the deepest purple, which is the violet. Now what I'm going to do is, you can probably see from this one that the deepest colour runs from about there. So all I'm going to do in terms of blending is literally put a very light, and I'm not pressing hardly at all on the page here, is put a very light gradation of this darkest colour, and that is a marker for where I want that shading to go to approximately. Everything else in this section, which is going to be the darkest purple, I'm going to press on a lot harder, and you can see the difference of the depth of the colour. So I'm just going to fill that in, and we'll do the same on the other side. And it won't quite matter if you don't get a particularly smooth finish at this point, because what we'll do is we'll blend it in properly with the blender pencil. Okay. So you can see that I've still got that line of lighter shading there, and I've not gone over that any harder than that, because what I want to do is, I'm now going to pick the next deepest colour, which is the lilac. I think, let me just check that, hence the test paper. No, I was right the first time. It's the parma violet, is the next deepest shade. So I'm going to do exactly the same again. So what I'm going to do is just put a very light line across here as to where I want this grade of shading to go to. And then what I'm going to do is everything between here and here and over that shading of the deeper colour, I'm going to press on a lot harder. And because the Prismacolours are waxy and very blendable, you can see that that colour just melds pretty well just on its own without using a blender pencil, but I will go over it because we'll want this really smooth. Okay, so again, same principle. You can see I've left this little strip in a lot lighter hand, and this middle bit I've used a lot firmer touch and I'm pressing a lot harder. And you can just go over this as many times as you want to make a really smooth finish in the middle. Now, what I'm going to do is go back, because you can still see this line here. So what I'm going to do is go back to the deep violet colour, and just where that line is, just very, very lightly go over it in that deeper colour, and you'll see that visible gradation just melt away. And you can repeat that process with the violet and the next colour as many times as you want in terms of how to get how smoother an effect you want. What I'm going to do at this point is just use my Prismacolour colourless blender just to go over that, just to make it really, really seamless. And then, very simply, what we do is exactly the same steps for the lighter shades of purple. So I'm going to put these two down. I'm going to pick the lilac shade, and again I'm just going to go to here, put a very light shading, I'm not pressing at all, and in this area I'm going to press a lot harder and go over this lighter shade of the deeper colour. So I'm repeating exactly what I did with the previous colour. There we go. And again, you can just go over it however many times you like in the harder area, just to get it really, really, really smooth. So I'm going to go back to that slightly deeper shade, go over this join again, very lightly. I'm not pressing hard with this one. And then let's brush that off and just quickly go over that with the blender pencil. And as I said in my video where I was telling you about the kit, you can use a liquid solution called Gamsol to blend, but as I said in that video, I tend not to use it very much because you can see how well the pencils just blend on their own. Okay, so now I'm going to choose the lightest shade that I've got, which is the lavender colour. It's more of a pinky purple, and because this is the end of the leaf, I don't really need to put a lighter shading in here. All I need to do is go over the rest of the leaf in that firmer hand, and that is pretty much how to blend. And as I say, the Prismacolour pencils, I find, because they're waxy and they're soft, you can tell the beautiful colours that you get, the vibrant colours, but also how well they blend together just on their own. You can see I've also done the same effect down here in yellows and oranges. These leaves reminded me a little bit of flames, so I've actually used those colours. I've got those colours out beside me. You won't be able to see them on the video, but I'll read them out for you. So going from top to bottom in terms of yellow to orange, and again, these are Prismacolour pencils. We start at the top with lemon yellow, then I go through canary yellow, sunburst yellow, Spanish orange, yellowed orange, orange, pale vermilion, and poppy red. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there's actually eight shades in this one rather than the 4 that I've used here, and you can see the lovely effect that you can get using more different variations of the shade. What I've done here as well is, on this particular outline, I've just used a gold glitter gel pen, just because it gives a nice sparkly outline to the leaves. And what I've done is I've left this one blank to prove a point, basically, because I'm right-handed. I tend, if I'm using gel pen, because it doesn't dry instantly, I tend to work left to right, because otherwise if I was working on this one and then went over here, my hand would be smudging as I go. So I tend to start on this side and work outwards. The next tutorial I'll do, you can see these leaves I've done here. I'm going to try and show you how to produce a wet look leaf, but hopefully that's taught you a little bit about blending. And again, any questions you need to ask, just bounce me a line. Okay, thanks ladies, bye bye.